Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everybody checking in here now on the Team Dunstone Facebook Live. We've got Maddie Dunstone and Kirk Muyres tonight for a fun question and answer session here. So, guys, I'll let you have at her. How did this whole meetup and matchup come together?
Yeah, so obviously it's been a week now since the big announcement, but obviously there's some things that go on beforehand. You don't just surprise Kirk with a Facebook post saying he's playing on your team next year. So we had reached out to Kirk a couple weeks ago and just threw the idea out there to him to just kind of feel it out a bit. As soon as Kui made his decision with Flash coming back. You knew there was going to be some shakeup one way or another, and so we thought we'd reach out to Kirky and see what his thoughts were, and obviously it speaks for itself how much Kirk brings to the table and whatnot. So chats went from there, and one thing led to another, and sure enough, Kirky decided to hop on board for this next Olympic run.
Yeah, it was. I must say, it was one of those things. I was pretty honored when I got the call. It was whenever somebody asks you to join them, it's pretty cool. But these guys I've played with before and that sort of thing, so it's pretty exciting when they kind of give me a call, and I'm pretty honored. But I really had to really think about what kind of my next move was in my career, and then, like I said, seeing these guys, the success they had last year, being able to beat the best teams in the world, compete with the best teams in the world, and then have a great run at the Brier and win that Grand Slam. Like that was something that it's really hard to turn down. So after a few sleepless nights, had a little Facebook or a Skype call with the guys and kind of told them I'm excited about it and I'm in, and we've been full steam ahead since. So it's been pretty cool.
Now we anxiously wait to get the finished product on the ice. Now is another 4 or 5 months of waiting here to put her into action.
Yeah, that's I don't know about you, Maddie, or even Jerry, but that's been it's been crazy. Most times at this time of year, through the winter and everything, you're kind of, for me anyways, I'm kind of ready to take a little time off and kind of be done with it, and then I know, like, the last month, like, obviously we haven't left the house. I'm just like, oh my God, like, I would love to be in St. John's, Newfoundland right now. I'd love to be in North Bay, Ontario right now, curling. I just want to get back out there and doing it. And it's pretty exciting for me because I haven't had that excitement to go play in a long time, because really our seasons kind of never end. So I don't know if you're getting that feeling or not, Maddie, but that's sure what I've got going on.
Especially when you and I were both in Beijing last year curling till middle of May, and now we're done. I guess it would have been beginning middle-ish of March, and it's a strange feeling to be off for as long as we have already, and it feels like time's moving in slow motion.
Well, Maddie, for you, actually, it was middle of March, but for me, it was beginning of February. I don't know if you realize that.
I do.
You remember that?
I do remember that. Don't worry. The year before our season felt like it had ended at the beginning of February too. So I'm glad we both got to feel some, obviously some pain, but some exciting times as well in the 2 years we did battle it out against each other.
Yeah, well, that was like a lot of the interviews I've done over the last couple of weeks. Everyone was saying to me, they're going, well, you can't beat them, so you might as well join them. And I had to remind them all. I'm like, whoa! Last year we beat them too, so no, don't be giving me that.
It's totally a "what have you done for me lately" sort of world, isn't it?
Man, for sure.
It's fun in that sense. So.
Yeah, the two of you, in the short amount of time you've been in Saskatchewan, Matt, you've had some pretty good battles in your days already, coming in the last few years.
It's been fun. Yeah, even year one when we played Flash and pretty much the same squad that we're going to be looking at next year, but obviously with Catlin on them now. I mean, even that I made it a battle in the later stretch of the game. I remember we took a 5-ender, I believe it was in the 5th, to go up 4, and she got a little dicey in 9 when the nerves got to Mr. Matt Dunstone a little bit with obviously a Brier appearance in the visions, but buckle down, obviously, in a hometown Briar and Regina too. I mean, it's how good is that for a hometown Briar?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of been the coolest thing for me, kind of over the 3 years that I've been in Saskatchewan, and I know Kirk can add on to this as well. But just I thought I was pretty spoiled in Manitoba with how much everybody knows curling, and you go somewhere and you've never seen the person before, but you're a local celebrity, and Saskatchewan is exactly like that too. It's you go out to the mall or you go out to wherever, and people seem to not specifically even if they don't know you, but they know what curling is, and that's kind of been the coolest thing for me, kind of getting to experience Saskatchewan and their curling. Is it's so very similar to Manitoba, and I mean those slams that happen in Yorkton and Regina. I mean it's bar none, and the Briar. I mean you could go on with events that in Saskatchewan are just bar none the most successful and the most fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I mean it obviously makes it better when you're the hometown team at those events, right? Yeah. Everyone's cheering for you. But I think most curlers will agree that when you can come out, on the prairie, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta even, but Saskatchewan just has that next level of it's packed, it's exciting. There's so many people that love curling and know curling, and just kind of adds that element. And like I said, it's easy for us Saskatchewan guys to say it's awesome, but I think most curlers would agree with that too. So totally agree. And that was, when we went to that Briar together, Maddie, in 2018 in Regina. That would have been my fourth one, and the three before were amazing. And I didn't even realize how great the Regina Briar was going to be until you get there and you realize how cool that is to have 6,500 people cheering for you, hanging on your every move. Whether you make it or miss it, they're just jacked up with you, right? So yes. I mean, it was awesome, and hopefully we can get that again in the trials in 2021 here in Saskatoon.
Absolutely, that's the big plan. You definitely get spoiled. One of my favorite parts of the last 2 years Canadian Open's been in Saskatchewan. It was Yorkton, obviously, this past year, and then North Battleford the year before.
2 years.
And it's yeah. So the last 2 years, it's always been like minus 50 for those weeks.
I was gonna chip in and say, being from Southern Ontario, the passion and love and the energy for curling in Saskatchewan makes up for the January weather in Yorkton and North Battleford.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. I hate the minus 50, and now that I'm living in BC, like my skin's getting a little tighter. I'm not as accustomed to the cold, but it is hilarious seeing like all the teams' Instagram stories of when they get their rental vehicle and they're scraping out the inside and it has the temperature in the corner, and everybody's like just putting online how cold it. I like that, the part of like those parts about it, and with those slams as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was gonna say, if anyone's got questions on the line there, make sure you send them in. Maddie and I will answer them as we go here. We'll probably be on for I don't know, a half an hour, 45 minutes, but I guess if we have more questions, that's fine too. We can kind of keep it rolling. So we'll have at her here. I think the first one there might be from a legend, Maddie. Should we take that one?
Well, I see this one here from Gary Bieber. He's asking us if we're anxious to get on the ice.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like we just talked about kind of before there, Gary, is for me, it's crazy. Like normally this time of year, I'm kind of ready to have a break. Don't really want to think about curling. Don't want to go on the road. Mostly is you're just sick of traveling. But for me right now, it's like, oh man, what I wouldn't give to get in a plane and go fly somewhere and play some curling. So that's one thing I'm learning through all this, is really to appreciate the things that we had in our life before this, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll get back to them.
Yeah, I'm echoing that. I mean, obviously, first things first, we got to make sure everybody's safe and healthy and doing what they can to get over this bad pandemic that's gone through the world. But hopefully, come September, October, even August, in a perfect world, we'll have had our fun in the summer. But that those months can't come fast enough if indeed the curling season begins then.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I think we both can agree on, there's curling's a small part of the thing, what's going on in the world right now, but the reality is that those are the things that you look forward to getting back to once we get it all settled out. So if everyone follows the rules and we do our job, it'll happen sooner than later here.
Donnie B, that's who you're referring to?
That's where I was going.
Donnie B saying, "What up, bitches?" Donnie, how are you, my man?
How are you, Donnie? I think you and I would both have a few stories. You played with Donnie, didn't you? You played with him for a weekend, Matt? Is that right?
Got a week. It was me, Johnny Moe, Catlin, and Donnie B. And Donnie B tossed up mid to high 90s all week, all-star lead. Absolutely peering it. I couldn't finish her off on the back end for old Donnie. He was peering it, but that was I'll remember that as one of the best weeks of curling I've ever had. We put up the happiest 0-3 I've ever been a part of.
You got a Sportsnet TV game too.
We got a TV game. Just the stories. That Johnny and Donnie can tell us. It's just unbelievable that the old time curling and just hearing stories about guys that you grew up watching and admiring. I mean, it's so cool and just his knowledge about the game too. I mean, that I would do lots to have another week on the curling ice with Donnie B.
Yeah, I would echo that. I was lucky enough in February to get hauled out to the Glencoe to play the Glencoe Invitational, and it was Glenn Howard, Brent Lang, Johnny Moe, Donnie B, and Johnny Moe broke his hand a couple days before in work, so they needed a player, so they called me in, and it was, I agree with you, the stories that they told, I just sit back and listen all weekend and laughed and laughed and laughed, and then, like you said, the experience that they have on the ice, you just sit back and you just learn. Guy like Donnie, he's been through everything, won everything, been to everything. He gets what it takes to win. And when you just sit around that and listen to it, it's so much fun. So one of the best guys in curling is Donnie B. So I hope you're doing well, Donnie.
Next one I got here.
I agree with you. The stories that they told, I just sit back and listen.
He's asking, Kirk, which team do you find is the most difficult to beat? And the same question.
On the ice, you just sit back and you just learn.
Well,
guy like Donnie. There was a time it was you, Matty. Really, I mean, I think we beat you a couple times in the provincials, but other than that, you always got our skin, and it sucked, right? We were provincial rivals. That sucked. So I would have said Dunstone was up there, but I think over the years, especially back when I played with Laycock, it was Gushu. Through those years, Gushu was kind of getting good again, and he was coming up, and we had good battles all the time, but they seemed to always kind of find a way to beat us, and that was something I really learned. Is it doesn't really matter. Some of these teams, some of them play really good, but they just know how to win. Yeah. And I saw Gushu do that for years against us. They knew how to win the game, and as you kind of learn and grow up, you kind of look back and realize that. But I would say Gushu was really the most difficult team to beat for over the years.
Even when they don't necessarily bring their A game, they just find ways, right? Like,
yeah.
You make the littlest mistakes, and that's when they do make their shots. And yeah,
that's the difference. Is they always make after you miss. And they never miss two in a row. That's kind of what I always see out of those kind of teams, and then they're winners, right? So
yeah, absolutely. For me, this is probably going to be based on more of a recency bias. It's toss up between Jacobs and Botcher. I would say Jacobs has just raked us the last two seasons. I think they're 9-1 against us. In the last 2 years, so they have just mowed our lawn. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the world, and but the thing with them is we've had a couple clubs. They just, Brad, when he's in the zone, they're so solid from top to bottom, and Botcher we've played a ton over the last couple of years as well, and we always have some really good games with them. Again, it goes back to they're winners, right? They find ways to win games, and Brendan makes some huge shots. Brendan's one of the best skips in the world. He's totally proven that, and he is. So he's an absolute shot maker. So he's made some big ones against us, and we've had a tough time with them as well.
What else do we got? Yeah, it was minus 625 during the Yorkton Slam this year. That was crazy.
We've got Carla Harris here. On behalf of a junior curler, how do you bounce back after a bad shot? And how do you refocus after a great shot?
Oh, you can start with that one, Maddie.
Well, I don't bounce back after a bad shot. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's a really tough thing, especially as a junior. It's definitely something I struggled with, and definitely still have a tough time with. I mean, the feeling of not only letting down yourself, but you got 3 other guys on your squad, and the feeling of letting them down too. So I mean, it's a very difficult thing to deal with. One of the things that's kind of been focusing on is just try and always give yourself more credit than you typically do, right? I mean, it's so easy to blame misses on throws and that sort of thing, but you know, you got to give yourself some credit at times that, you know, you did throw the rock really well, and that you are a good enough player that you throw the rock that well on a consistent basis, and at the end of the day, nobody's ever trying to miss. I've never met anybody that has purposely tried to miss a curling shot before. So just try and keep that in mind. It's definitely a growing process, and I think any curler will tell you that it's just come over years of experience how to deal with that. In regards to a great shot, hopefully it's at the end of the game so you don't have to refocus. But you know, during the game, you got to enjoy it for what it is, and definitely soak in those moments. Those are very cool moments to be a part of. One we've been a part of that I can remember, Kirky, is in the 8th end against Botcher at the Briar. We made that in off for 3 to go up 3, play a 9, and that's the loudest I've ever heard a building before. So that's a moment that'll always stick with me, just for how cool those moments actually are, and obviously we bear down and won the game. But I mean, those moments are just so great to be a part of.
Yep. Hey, I remember that shot. That was awesome, and the building was packed. And like I said, it was a nail biter on an end sheet, and that was a really fun moment. Yeah, I think I echo most of the things Maddie said. Is you know, after a bad shot, it's really like not beating yourself up too much about it. You know, learn what you can from it and move on. It's always easier said than done, but I think it's a learned response for people in general. Is when you screw up, you think you're not good enough and you failed, but really in a lot of cases that's not the reality. So it's about realizing kind of what's actually happening in those moments, and I think it's about training yourself over hundreds and hundreds of missed shots to, you know, learn something from it. And then refocusing after a great shot. You know, for me, honestly, I kind of almost like to ride the wave a little bit, is kind of ride that momentum. You know, that you had that great shot, you had a lot of things going right, like kind of keep that train rolling, and just keep kind of using that momentum and using that positive energy on the sheet to kind of go make the next one. So, you know, I think on both sides of it is just kind of allow those emotions to come in and kind of run through. I absolutely remember Ryder. And Ryder wants to know Ryder wants to know when you're preparing for a game, your routine. Oh, yeah, my pregame routine. I always like to get some exercise before the game. It kind of allows my body to warm up, but my mind to warm up. And then really it's just kind of getting myself energized, communicate lots with my teammates, and then just get myself focused and get energized and almost nervous a little bit before the game. So just getting my body activated. That's kind of my pregame routine.
Yeah, for me, it's typically get to the rink about an hour before game time. We got practice typically half hour before, so you know, kind of the first 10 minutes in the locker room, you're kind of shooting around with the guys, making some jokes, laughing around, staying loose, and then kind of 20 minutes too. I'll head out there and kind of just look around for 5 minutes. I'm not too eager to get in a stretch, and I'm still young, so I feel like I'm invincible when it comes to sore limbs and whatnot. But kind of about 10 to 15 minutes before, I'll kind of just get into. I have a stretching routine that I do and I try to aim to do that at the exact same time. Every time we're out on the ice, kind of keep it superstitious and in that same routine. But pretty simple on my end. I don't listen to any music or anything like that. I almost feel like just to calm the nerves before a game, what helps me is just talking with people and making jokes.
Just to tie into that mental side a little bit, Matt, you worked with Adam Kingsbury this past season. What kind of things did he really help you with? And his work behind the scenes is really something a lot of people don't get a chance to understand very well either.
Yeah, Adam has been just such an awesome addition for us. The first thing, kind of when I started talking to him, he got me to do some meditation. And just with that, you get to, first off, take 10 to 20 minutes of your day to just think about you and how you're feeling. And that's something that a lot of people don't do, who just go their whole day without even being aware of what their mental being or their state of how they're feeling might actually be. So getting to do that, I could actually think about during the day, like, what stresses me out, or why am I being stressed, or if I'm doing this, and I'm happy. You think about what you're feeling, and you do that a lot on the curling ice too. And when you analyze that, and I just missed a bad shot and I'm feeling upset, it's not about getting rid of those feelings, is what Adam preaches. It's about embracing them and taking them for what it is, and just learning how to take it and make it better. Kind of another thing that Adam's talked to us about, and is a lot of it's been breathing. We need to breathe, obviously, for obvious reasons, but just in those bigger moments, right, when your heart rate's up and the crowd's dead silent, and certain shots have to be made, the one thing we completely forget about doing is actually breathing, and what breathing does is allow you to slow down that heart rate. So breathing is certainly something we've worked in. We've actually sat with Adam and spent a practice session doing our pre-shot routine and just breathing. And another thing he talks about in that pre-shot routine is locking in your eyes, just zoning in, because all you're thinking about for that 4 or 5 seconds while you're sliding out is the right weight and the broom, right? So just zoning in on that, and you don't need to focus about that. Like, as soon as you put that uber focus in for 4 or 5 seconds, you can completely get away from it. Because as soon as you let go of that rock, it's up to the other 3 guys, right? So it's just an emphasis on ultra focus for 4 to 5 seconds while you're coming out of the hack, and then you can just completely let it go. Because if you're ultra focused at all times, obviously you get exhausted. And when games are 8 to 10 ends long, if you're putting uber focus into everything, you're going to tucker yourself out, and you're going to get some misses, or you're going to get into some scraps with some teammates because you're going to be irritable and things like that. So that's just scratching the surface with what Adam's done with us, but those are kind of some of the main general things we've worked on. Cameron's here. How many rocks do you like to throw at practice? And do you like to throw more takeouts or draw guard practice shots?
Well, for me, I usually throw I like to throw for an hour. And so that usually, I don't know, that's probably 40 to 50 rocks kind of thing, give or take. I like to do that every day when I'm not on the road. And then in terms of like what shots I'm throwing, it will honestly be based on the last weekend. I look back at my last weekend, what did I not perform to my standard at, and then I'll focus on that for the most part. So that might be a tap out, that might be a draw, that might be a guard, that might be a hit, that might be a run back. It won't be exclusively that, but it'll be more focused towards that. And then going into the next weekend, you're obviously going to be better at the thing you weren't good enough at. So that's kind of generally my practice routine. A lot of my practices are strictly like sliding straight, finding that north-south to the broom, and going there and then adding in the shots after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I practice alone, sorry.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where the question's headed. Obviously, me being away from the guys, I'm practicing alone quite a bit. Typically, I'm about 48 rocks at practice. Kind of the first 16 are more so just dialing in. I'll put a cone halfway down the sheet. I'll put a couple cones at the hog line. It's just continuing the thrive for technical excellence. I mean, when technically you're sound, everything else sort of comes easy. So when I'm practicing alone, it's always starting with technical. Just getting a feel, getting that confidence that my slide is in fact where I want it to be. And for the most part, after that, if I do throw draw shots, all I'm kind of focusing on is putting rocks in the exact same spot. Doesn't really matter where they go, because where I'm practicing is obviously going to be so different from where my competition is. So I'm not putting a huge focus on trying to put draws into the top of the forefoot. I'm just focusing on trying to put draws in the exact same spots, throwing the exact same split times, hog to hogs, whatever it is, because that tells me that I'm throwing the rock well. So that's kind of where more of my focus is on draw practice. And then hitting, it's more so kind of just dialing in that run backs again, because that weight stays consistent through club to club, whereas if you're practicing 10-second hit weights, those vary from where you are. It's not something I don't practice ever, but I stay away from it just because a 10-second hit at the Kamloops Curling Club will feel a heck of a lot different than a 10-second hit at the Briar.
I think next one's for you, from Kevin Schmidt, Maddie. Of all your amazing circus shots, and there is a lot of them, which one is your favorite?
It was one of those years. It's kind of funny. You go some years where you don't.
Sorry, Maddie. How much you pay him to post that?
I know. I got my guys working behind the scenes. It's tough. Like, I think coolest moment I would say was when we took the 4 to beat Jimmy. I wouldn't have said that was a crazy circus shot. I mean, it got rid of 3 rocks, I guess. I'll humble brag there, but they were sort of lined up. But just obviously to take 4, the Briar, everything. That was probably the coolest moment for a shot. I think my favorite actually is through the port against Mowat. But the reason for that being is it's just such a rare shot you actually get to throw. The only other time I can really think of was Holman's, the outturn at the Scotties. Don't remember the year of it, but I mean, it's just not a shot you get to throw too often. So I think that was kind of one that sticks out to me just because it's unique from the rest of them.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that one too, and I think like, yeah, curlers would get it, but like actually calling a line through that hole would be ridiculous because of where the rocks were too.
Yeah.
Like, because they were just over the hog line, right?
Yeah.
So like you're usually calling line for that to come into a spot, in the house or a foot or two above the house, not right over the hog line. So I think that was wild.
You're calling the break point halfway up the sheet as opposed to hog line in when it kind of does most of its curling. And I'll always laugh. Mosky in that photo is full spread, like legs sitting in the hack, his arms on the tee line on the 12-foot, and he's just full spread for that shot. A pretty funny photo Mosky got from that one.
Yeah, for sure. Is it too early to get my tickets for the Briar in Kelowna? D is asking. I hope you're doing well, D. We're thinking about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's been a tough time for you, so our prayers are going out to you for sure. So take care. I don't think it's ever too early to get your tickets for the Briar. Briars are the best things ever. Whether you're playing it or you're watching it, the Briars are such a unique thing. The Briar and the Scotties are just it's what makes curling, I think. It is just so special. So I think it's never too early to get those tickets.
No, especially being in Kelowna too. That's gonna be a heck of a spot next year, and hopefully the weather's good enough too. All the people that come out to watch will be able to bring their golf clubs too to do some things in between the games. James Owen, sorry. Do you guys plan to be the hometown team for the Roar? Do you got plans of that, Kirky?
I would like that.
Yeah,
I would take that all day. That would be really cool. That's one of the overall goals, right? I mean, how cool would that be to play in a 15,000 seat arena in Saskatoon for a chance to go to the Olympic Games and curling in Saskatchewan? Boy, oh boy, that's a dream come true for me.
No, absolutely. I don't have much to add to that. I mean, that's why we reached out to you, and then that's the plan moving forward is for us to work hard towards that. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for the process for the next year and a half of leading up to that roar and kind of the effort and the time we put into how do we become the best. And that's kind of the part I'm looking forward to. And then to actually just be there and to see it all that work that you put into to get in that moment and obviously not just be there, but we want to win or two, James. We want to be the Olympic team in Beijing.
Absolutely. What do we got here from Tessa? Matt, which province is the hardest to get out of to get to the Brier? Manitoba, Saskatchewan, or BC? Put you on the spot with that one.
Put me on the spot. Well, I haven't gotten out of Manitoba, and I haven't tried BC yet. Saskatchewan 2 years ago felt really hard to get out of for obvious reasons. We're at a pretty special time. I'm going to give the actual answer. I'm going to give a politically correct answer now. That each province across our nation, kind of men's and women's, have some really good teams in it. Curling has never seen more depth than it has in this day. And when I speak of depth, this is going to be my answer. I do believe that out of those three, that Manitoba is the most difficult province to win right now. Obviously, you got McEwen and Gunlickson, who are kind of heading that province right now. But you look at the year Tanner Horgan had, Braden Calvert, Jacques Gauthier won the World Juniors. He's up and coming. I mean, there's so much depth in that province, and with how they're doing it, they're not making me want to head back there anytime soon. I like going to the Brier, and it seems like a pretty tough place to win right now.
Well said. I think we got one more here. If you had a sex change and could choose any women's team to join, which one would you want to curl with, Maddie?
I like that one. I'd have to say Hasselberg's team, just because we were in Sweden about a year and last February, just before 2019. I'm confused. I was in Sweden a year ago, and we had an awesome time there. We got to spend a couple days in Stockholm, and then went down to Jan shopping for the World Cup, and it was amazing. Stockholm was just amazing. The people were so friendly. We rented an Airbnb right downtown Stockholm. We had a great time. And then obviously Hasselberg's team, back to the curling. They're the best team on the planet, and I mean, just up and down the lineup, just so many shooters, and they won 3 slams this year. And it's we got to go to their home club actually in Stockholm there, and it was the atmosphere was amazing, and they just love curling so much, and it's a great atmosphere to be a part of.
Yeah, I would say the same, to be honest. I was going there too. Hasselberg, I mean, you just watch them, and that's the same thing. They're winners, they're killers. They know what needs to be done to win the game on any given day, and they dominate. And when they don't dominate, they find a way to win, right? So, watching them is just, I think, is a picture perfect way if you want to learn how to be a champion. You watch them go to work. So yeah, I would agree with that. That question came from my sweet queen of the household, Claire Hannah. She must be downstairs listening to us.
I sent you that one. That's awesome.
That was a good question.
I was waiting for her to make her appearance.
That was pretty PG for what Claire could hand us.
I know, yeah. I'm seeing one here from Churchy, Grant Churchill back. He's the head ice maker at the Granite Club in Winnipeg. Good buddy of mine, and got to know him quite a bit through Camp Carruthers, and obviously curling out of the Granite as well. He says, how many strokes should I give Carruthers this golf season? I want to beat him, but I still want it to be a close game. I'm thinking 4 on each 9. Churchy obviously feeling confident about his golf game heading into the year here. I'd love to comment too much on this, but I got to put a foot in my mouth here. When I was on the course last time with Reed, he took me to the woodshed and showed me how it's done. So, I mean, in my opinion, Churchy, I would be careful on giving him strokes. I know you're a good golfer, but Reed has it in him to bring out his inner tiger, as I saw firsthand.
That's good. Are you prepared for the possibility there may be no curling season in 2021? Yeah, I think we kind of talked about that earlier. For sure, I think we are. Like you said, curling's a minor part of what's going on in the world today, and but we'd love to be playing, but we realize that that's just may not be a reality. But we're going to prepare like it is, and like I said, in the next couple of weeks here, we're going to sit down and figure out, like what Maddie said, we're going to figure out what we need to do to get better on and work at it, and hopefully we can get that on the ice this fall and kind of see what we can do. But we'll see. There's one more here for you, Maddie.
What are we here?
What's the next lucky hat you will wear at a Grand Slam event?
Well, I'm wearing it right now, actually. We got our great sponsors, Inlet and Autoline Products here. They're based in Winnipeg. Actually, after that Grand Slam win in North Bay, got to talking with them a little bit, and they wanted to help us out and get their logos on the hats. So this is the lucky hat moving forward, and so far so good, and obviously very thankful for our sponsors that are with us. I mean, we can't do anything in this game without them, so we're very fortunate.
Yeah, that's one of the things. You'd love to wear a lucky hat, but you also got to pay the flights to get to the next event. We're not like the football players and the baseball players. So,
and, I'm gonna continue to wear this hat. I got my my pandemic haircut going here. So,
have you been cut yet? That's why I don't normally wear a hat, but I had to put one on tonight because my hair is unbelievably long. So I don't know. Are you still holding out?
I've been talking to Erin a little bit, and I think I'm coming very close to giving her the reins with the razor and just saying have at her.
That's love. That's love. You can trust her with that.
It's getting to that point. I'm getting a little nervous about it, but I think tomorrow might be the day that this hair says goodbye.
Well, one more question here, and then we should probably wrap it up. That's 45 minutes. It's probably enough for a Saturday night of you and me rambling on. But Maddie, are you doing the Camp Crothers this year? And Kirk, are you doing camp? I have no camp scheduled this summer. Usually, like I said, we usually do those curling camps in the winter, and that's kind of what I do in the summer. I kind of step back and take a break from it. So I haven't been approached to do any curling camps this summer, but we'll see on my end. Maddie?
Nothing set in stone yet. Obviously, I've done Reed's camp the last couple of years, and he puts on a phenomenal show there. So anybody who's watching, if you guys get a chance, definitely hit that up. It's at the Granite Club in Winnipeg. Churchy doing the ice and Reed running the show. Obviously, it's a fantastic camp. Definitely hoping those are still a go for this year. I'm not sure, but if you're saying week 2, maybe I'll put her in the calendar. It's sure we'll have to see once the curling schedule comes out when we might be starting. But if we can definitely make it work, I'd be more than happy to go back to Reed's camp this year.
And one last question from Brent for me. Can I keep up with the 3 of you in the patch? Well, I'll tell you what, Brent. There is 0% chance I can keep up with these 3. So I can't do it. Won't do it. Won't try. I'll keep these boys in line from here on out. So
Brenty, why are you involving me in this question? It should be more so can't keep up with the other 2 in the patch.
Yeah, they're not here. We can throw them under the bus.
Exactly. It's the other 2. Don't involve me in this, Brent.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yes. Well, wanted to say hi to Ryder. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I think that's kind of it. just I think we want to thank everyone who's kind of putting themselves out there on the front lines with this COVID. From like we said, we got doctors and nurses up there, but retail people that have to go to work every day, and leaders and truck drivers and all the rest. Just really appreciate all your work and putting yourselves on the line. We'll stay home and we'll stay safe, and hope everyone does the same.
No, absolutely echo that, and all the best to everybody. And just a little sponsor plug here. If you look on the screen, you see Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. Obviously, a great sponsor for us, and they're they're delivering takeout, or they're not delivering. Skip the dishes, sorry. And if you get the chance to hit up your local Mr. Mike's, they got some great food there. Definitely try the panko shrimp. That's a favorite of mine there. So if you guys get the chance, or you don't feel like doing some cooking one night because everybody's doing a lot more cooking, definitely check out Mr. Mike's menu and order up.
Claire and I order in a couple times a week, and Mr. Mike's on that order list.
There we go, right on.
All right, guys.
See you guys. Thanks a lot, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk, Matt, for joining everyone on the internet tonight, and thanks to everyone for tuning in and having some fun with us here. So for now, this will be the end. Maybe another one coming up soon. We'll see what happens. Yeah, was muted on that one. Do the outro on mute. That'll work, right? I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Kirk and Matt, for taking a few minutes out of your evening to chat with the fans and add a nice little distraction to the evening.
And,
so
one more. Are we still live?
Still live.
Okay, one more thing. Jerry and his buddy Price Atkinson, thank you guys so much. We just started working with you guys at the Briar, and it's been bar none. You guys have done such a great job on our social media. And doing things like we're doing tonight. You guys do such a great job, and what you guys have done for us, we can't thank you enough. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I appreciate everything you guys have done. Jerry, Price, you guys are awesome. You helped us through the last week or so. It's an amazing experience. So thank you very much for all your work. It's a lot.
Massive kudos to Price there. He's the guy who does the majority of the legwork. I just dropped in tonight to run the tech and
take the glory.
Help out. A little bit of that. But yeah, it's been so much fun, and we're hoping to see this take off. And the whole idea is we want to build stars out of you guys, and let the money roll in after the fact, right?
You betcha.
Anyways, thanks a lot again. Thanks to all the fans for tuning in, and for now, everyone have a great evening.
Thanks, guys.